Whoops. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, hi, my name is Ken, also known as MrKenDenis. So in today's video, I am going to be trying out Sigma brushes for the very first time. Okay, so yes, you heard me right. I haven't tried out Sigma brushes before, as far as I'm aware. I have never tried Sigma brushes out before. And I recently received an email from Sigma's PR team asking if I would like to join their affiliate program. And I said, yes, I'd love to, but I haven't actually tried out your products before. So I would love a chance to try them out before I actually join the affiliate program. I don't want to be recommending a brand and products I haven't tried out before to you guys, because you guys can see if I'm faking it or not, and I really do not fake it on the internet. So we are going to go into this PR box that I received. I might have already shown this on Instagram stories. I think I tried vlogging it, but I didn't end up using that footage. But whoops. Yeah. There's this box. It's really nice. I really like the pattern. I'm just gonna pick up the stuff that just fell on the floor. Alright, let's start off first with the eyes. I've got this really old concealer from Too Faced. This one's the old formula Born This Way concealer. I think it's still okay. Yeah, it smells okay and it applies well. Like, I don't feel like the formula's gone off yet. So I'm just gonna use this like as a tacky base. I'm just going to use the sponge. I'll probably use one of the flat sides of the tip. Now this sponge isn't the softest sponge I've ever tried, but it is quite soft. It doesn't feel like a rock or anything like that. I do appreciate the shape of it though. I feel like it really does help get into like the corners, just because it is kind of like that wedge shape. I do believe I remember watching someone talking about this product and saying that it's kind of like a mix between like the traditional wedge and just like your typical beauty sponge where it's like rounded. I'm going to use the brush that comes in the palette. I actually don't mind this. Usually brushes that come in palettes I'm not a big fan of, but this one seems to be okay. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of a stamping method. So I'm just going to grab the other end of this brush. Going to use the shade probably Claystone, which is the darkest brown shade, and I'm just going to stamp. Sorry guys, I don't really do swatches when I review palettes and stuff like that. I just feel like that's not very necessary, just because brushes, the way you apply your eyeshadows with if you're using brushes mostly, it's going to look different as opposed to when you swipe with your finger. Unless, of course, it's one of those shades where brushes just do not work and you just need to use your finger to apply it onto your lids. But I feel like most of these would probably just work fine. Okay, that looks like it's worked really well. The next few brushes that I have to work with from Sigma, I don't feel like they're going to do really well to help blend that. I need something else. So I'm just going to use some of the other brushes from my collection to do that. I'm just getting like one of these small domed smudger type brushes, and I'm grabbing the shade Innocent, which is like a dusty rose shade. I'm just going to blend this shade on top. Because of the colours that I've chosen, I feel like this look is very cool toned already, and I don't normally go for cool tone, but I'm really liking these colours and they're blending out really well, surprisingly. I don't know, I keep saying surprisingly, I had no real expectations for these shadows, but they're just blending out really nice. Now I'm going to grab the shade Metamorphosis. I don't know which brush I should use. I probably should use this brush again, like this tip. Just gonna wipe off the excess colour. Ooh, okay, sold on this shade. I do feel like it's struggling to kind of like apply nicely onto the lids. I might grab a setting spray, that might help. That brush a little bit wet. I'm dipping back into the palette to just grab a little bit more of Metamorphosis. Okay, I feel like that's definitely working. This shade isn't coming off as I expected. I expected it to be a little bit deeper in shade, but it's almost kind of like a wash of like this shimmery green, blue-green shade as opposed to like a deep brown shift, which is what I was expecting, because like when you look at the palette itself, it's got that sort of like shift. So maybe if I wanted to go deeper next time, I probably should lay down a darker color and then add that on top. But I'll see what happens when I do it on the outer corner. Using the same brush, just on the opposite side, just laying down some of that darker shade first, so the claystone shade at the outer corner, and flipping my brush the other way, grabbing Metamorphosis. Just want to see... Okay, yes. So it's a nice sort of like topper shade. I don't think on its own it would really be like super wow. I mean, like, it is pretty on its own, don't get me wrong, but I was looking for that like deep, mysterious, dark look, which if you layer the darker shade first and then layer this on top, it does seem to give that effect. I have to say, I actually really like what it's turned out. I don't normally go for these particular colours together. I'm more of a warm tone type of boy, but this is good. This is good. So I'm just going to open up the liquid liner now, and let's see how skinny the tip is. It is fairly skinny. This one feels like it's one of those spongy type materials, not like a felt tip pen. Alright, so that's the application. I have to say it was fairly easy. It's fairly easy to get the nice sharp tip. I do have to say it's probably not the darkest or most pigmented, is that probably the right way to say it, liquid eyeliner, just because if you look up close you can still kind of see the eyeshadow peeking through, like that shimmery one. But you know, it does the job, so I'm not really complaining because I'm going to be putting lashes and you won't really be able to see it through that. Alright, so I'm just going to do the rest of my face. Let's see, I have got the Benefit Professional Pearl Primer. Just going to put like a decent amount of primer on my face. And I'm going to grab the flat top kabuki brush. Just going to spritz my brush. Then just blend this out. Okay, so I've got some colour corrector, and now I'm going to move on to foundation application. So I'm just going to use this foundation. This one is the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation and Concealer. Now, I'm not really sure about the shade. I feel like it might be a little bit light, but we'll see how this goes. So I know for a fact this foundation works really well with a brush, so that's why I chose it. Alright, so far so good with this brush. As you guys saw, I just had to like tilt the brush a little bit on an angle just to get like in between like my hairline and my brows. I feel like this brush is just the right size for me to just kind of like spread out the product evenly, but still getting like in between the brows, underneath the eyes, that sort of stuff. Do feel like I need a little bit more foundation around the mouth though, but that's more of a foundation thing. But yeah, it's working out really well so far. I'm just grabbing the sponge again. I'm going to use the flat side, like the traditional wedge part. I feel like that's just perfect for what I need. And I also love the fact that I can get really close, like into the inner corner of the eye right there. And also the way how I highlight my nose as well, like with the concealer. Like the shape of it just works really well for it, so I really appreciate that. I'm just gonna grab my loose powder and just do a little bit of baking underneath the eyes, set the rest of my face, and then yeah, we'll talk. Okay, so the base has all been set. I'm just going to grab this Soft Kohl Kajal eyeliner from Rimmel London. This one's just like a brown shade. Again, I don't have a brush that I would like to particularly use for my lower lash line, so I'm just going to use something from my own collection again. Okay, that blended out like a dream. So I'm just going to do the rest of my makeup, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the blush, and then I'll show you guys the highlighting brush, what it can do. And I think that's pretty much, oh, and the lipstick, and I think that's pretty much it for this Sigma trying out video. Alright, so I've done pretty much everything else that I can do. So I've added a little bit of black eyeliner. Just I felt like it needed to be a little bit smokier. So now we're going to move on to the Face Aura powder. This one is the NYMPHAEA. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a really nice sort of like bright pinky shade. Just going to grab a blusher brush that I already have. I'm just going to wipe off any excess powder on it. Alright, so here we go. Oof, that's nice. Sorry for the awkward pause in that clip. My battery died. As I was saying, some blushes, when I use this particular brush sometimes, it doesn't apply evenly. Like this part in particular, sometimes it's a bit patchy, but this one looks really good. Okay, now I'm going to grab a highlighter and we're going to use the Spotlight Duster. Alright, this is the closest one I've got. This one is MAC Soft and Gentle. I'm just going to really load it up. Ooh. Oh, nice. Okay, this is definitely giving me a very soft highlight look. Like this highlighter can be quite intense sometimes, and this one's just gently adding that color or highlighter in very slowly, as opposed to just like a huge chunk of highlighter, which is really good for some highlighters, especially these ones that are really, really bright, because you really want to just slowly incorporate that highlight. I think everyone's kind of like over that super beaming, intense highlighter. I think I'm just going to grab the wide shader brush E59. This is probably not the brush for it, but I'm just going to use it anyway. Going to go back into the palette. I do feel like I need an inner corner highlight. Looking at the palette, I don't feel like any of these shades are going to look really nice for like a really bright inner corner highlight. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to grab the Soft and Gentle highlighter, and I'm just going to pop it there on an angle. Yeah, that's definitely giving me the light I need there. Alright, so we're almost done. Now we're going to go ahead and apply the liquid lipstick. This one is again a new mod. And it's a nice sort of like nudie mauve shade. But before I do that, I'm going to apply a little bit of a lip liner. Okay, let's go with the liquid lipstick. I'd say it has a bit of a chemically scent. Doesn't bother me though. Ugh, I love this shade. This is definitely the type of colour that I would go for. Think Velvet Teddy, but a little bit deeper from MAC. It's a fairly pigmented lip colour as well. And from what I can see, it's quite buildable. I feel like the first layer is somewhat sheer still. So if you have like a darker lip liner, you can still kind of blend with it. But if you want to add more, you can definitely do that. Ta-da! Everything is done, everything is set, and I really like how this makeup has turned out. Okay, so let's start off first with the eyeshadow palette. What do I think? Now, obviously, I didn't try out all the shades. The only shades I did try were Claystone, Metamorphosis, and Innocent. And so far, I really like these shades. They blend really well. Super pigmented from what I have seen so far. Not really seeing any patchiness or anything like that. Very minimal fallout. I think Innocent was the most fallout. Like the shade Innocent was probably the most fallout I tried out for all three. Again, Metamorphosis, I did feel like it was a little bit like a topper eyeshadow as opposed to like a standalone eyeshadow, but it still looks really nice. Like it works really well still on its own. But yeah, I feel like I wanted to go a little bit darker, so maybe next time I play around with the shade, I might layer the darker shade Claystone on first and then put this on top, like all over, then put this just on the lid. But overall, it's still really pretty. Alright, the liquid liner, I think it's good. Though I did say that I found that it wasn't super pigmented because you can kind of still see the eyeshadow still like peeking through, but honestly I don't think that's really much of an issue for most people. I certainly don't think it's an issue for me, just because I always wear lashes anyway, so you can't really see it that much. But I would imagine if you are very much into like the super deep dark eyeliner, maybe this isn't the one for you. Now going on to the 3D HD sponge, I really like the shape. I do have to say, I do enjoy the fact that there's like this traditional wedge shape, and it's really nice and handy for the under eye area. I might try and use this next time just to do like a whole face base type makeup look next time. But yeah, so far really impressed. The Sigma Flat Top Kabuki F80, I don't feel like it's performed any different to other flat top kabuki brushes that I've tried out in the market. But I do have to say, it doesn't seem to absorb as much product as other brushes. I'm not really sure, maybe it's the density of the bristles, I'm not really sure. And also one thing I do appreciate is the weight of this. I do like the weight of the handle. I feel like it makes it easier to blend. Sometimes if the weight isn't correct, like if it's too light, you end up just holding it like here as opposed to like holding it from there. And that's how I normally hold my brushes. In terms of the eye brushes, again, I didn't really play around too much with the eye brushes just because they weren't exactly the shape that I needed for this particular look. But the brush that came in the palette itself, really handy, really works really well. Let's see, what else did I try? The face powder aura blush. I really like it. Like I said, I was actually pleasantly surprised that it didn't like kind of like appear chalky, because this shade, to me, completely honest, whenever I see a shade like this, I kind of avoid it because I know it's going to look a bit chalky, a bit patchy on me. No, completely different story on my cheeks, so very, very happy. Oh, the cheek brush, the Spotlight Duster, I really like it. Normally I use this brush from Morphe to like pack on my highlighter, and some looks packing on the highlighter is really good, but for a light dusting of highlighter like this, for soft and gentle, where you have to be a little bit soft, a little bit light-handed, that's the word, for people of my complexion, because that highlighter can look a little bit too frosty. This brush works really well for that. Let's see. Oh, the liquid lipstick. I like this shade, I'm not gonna lie. I really like it. Now, the more I look at this shade, I think it's a good dupe for Whirl, not Velvet Teddy, because I think Velvet Teddy's a little bit lighter. Whirl, from memory, kind of looks like this on me, so if you guys are looking for a good dupe for Whirl, try this one, new mod from Sigma. Alright, there you guys go. Those are my first impressions, thoughts and opinions on these products from Sigma. Again, thank you so much to the PR team for sending this over. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to thumbs up the video if you guys did. Definitely check out my Instagram if you guys would like to see more looks like this. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.